but when two people start off talking in English but then switch into the same second language, it's like you guys feel like you're part of the same team now. We are back in action, my friends. I am so glad to see you back. Do you know what I think is a pretty cool thing to learn on your spare time if you ever have the chance? That's learning a second language. I think speaking a second language is great, and it's not because I know some Spanish and love different languages. It's because speaking a second language is actually pretty handy to know and can be a real lifesaver when you least expect it. But when it comes to learning a completely brand new language from scratch, you already know what to expect. It's going to take a lot of practice, a whole ton of patience, and the willpower of Vegeta trying to turn Super Saiyan to learn that second language and actually be good at it. This is why the line, if there ever was one to learn a second language, is never jam-packed like at an amusement park. I don't see many eager beavers signing up for something like this because learning a second language takes commitment and is not that easy. It's like finally being able to break out this new dance move you've been practicing for so long. That's what learning a second language is like. But speaking a second language is pretty cool though, even if it's only a few words and you can only understand a little bit of it. I think that's still good because understanding something is still way better than understanding nothing. Something is better than nothing. But I don't want to give myself too much credit in knowing a second language because I never really went out of my way to learn it. I grew up in a house where my dad knew 3 languages, my mom knew 2 languages, and with all that knowledge floating around, it left me with knowing 1.5 languages. I may not have been an A+ student in any of my Spanish classes in school, but I was the A- student at least. I think my Spanish is pretty good to hold up a decent conversation, but only a decent conversation, which explains the A-. And from my experience growing up, knowing a second language does bring on a few unexpected hidden surprises that you don't expect to happen. I always notice that whenever it comes to getting a hookup or some VIP service, I always got it from speaking a second language. I'm not saying it's guaranteed or anything, but the ratio of me getting more hookups from speaking a second language is a bit higher than my hookups from speaking English. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. The only thing you have to keep in mind is that you both have to speak the same second language or else it doesn't count. Because if you speak Spanish and the other person speaks Spanish, now we're talking. Vámonos a la fiesta. Things are starting to look good and your chances of getting a hookup just went up. The times in my life when I got a hookup on something usually start out the same, and that's with me starting off and speaking in English with the other person. And after a few sentences of English, I decide if I should continue in English or if I should switch up the language. I honestly love seeing that surprised look on the other person's face when I start speaking in Spanish. It's hard to describe that connection, but when two people start off talking in English but then switch into the same second language, it's like you guys feel like you're part of the same team now. I don't know you and you don't know me because we just met, but we just found out that we're part of Fight Club. And the better your second language skills are, the better chance you have in getting that hookup or some extra VIP service. I have personally gotten myself some small discounts, a slightly bigger scoop of ice cream, and even had retail workers check the back for a product I was looking for. And all this magic happened just because I spoke the same second language as the other person. I know it doesn't sound like much, but it does feel pretty cool when it happens. Another cool thing about speaking a second language is being able to understand what strangers are saying outside in public. I know growing up that when my parents wanted to talk about something that they didn't want me to hear, they would speak in Spanish. That trick worked for a little bit, but once I started learning some Spanish, I understood everything that they were saying. And even to this day, I still see people trying to use this same old trick when they're outside in public. Anyone talking in English and then switching up the language real quick to say something in another language is being shady about something. It's hilarious to listen people talk in Spanish and have them think that no one around them can understand what they're saying. It's one of my James Bond moments because I can understand everything that they're saying loud and clear and they have no idea that I'm listening in. But I did have my cover blown a few times when I would laugh or react to what they were saying. This is why you can't judge a book by its cover, because this chocolate chip-eyed marshmallow knows Spanish, and so does Hollywood actor Ben Affleck. One of my favorite parts about speaking Spanish is getting to see that genuine surprised look on a lot of people's faces when I speak it. I get looks as if I just solved an extremely difficult calculus problem using no calculator. But the icing on the cake has to be that cool feeling that you get when you're mysteriousness levels just shoots up because now people start to wonder what other tricks I have up my sleeve. But let me wrap this video up. Leave me a comment down below. What second language would you love to learn if you ever had the chance? But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. And if you want more, hit that subscribe button and I will see you all later.